Hey, I'm Singh, and today we're going to be looking at the Yamaha R1 in our Tall Rider review. Before we get too ahead of ourselves, I first want to apologize for any background noise. They're apparently building another building right across the street from where I live, so there's a little bit of noise coming through, and I apologize for that. And I would also like to thank Mr. Malik for providing his beautiful Yamaha R6. It's a 2012. He's got some modifications on there, which we'll get to, but it's beautiful, and thank you so much for providing it to us. Also, as always, this is not your traditional review. We're not going to be talking specs or how it rides or top speed. This review series and all my content on this channel is designated to tall riders and their comfort on the motorcycle and motorcycle related content. Let's get into it. Let's start with my dimensions. I'm 6'5", 198 pounds, inseam of 34. I wear size 34 in jeans, and in arms I have sleeve size 36, and in shoes I wear a size 13. So hopefully that gives you enough information to compare yourself to my size. So with that out of the way, let's jump into the review. So overall, in my opinion, the R1 is a relatively good fit for tall riders. Of course, this is not the comfiest bike. It is a super sport at the end of the day, but in my personal opinion, super sports are comfier for tall riders than they are for short folks. I'll be doing detailed comparison with other super sports in different videos, but I'll add some comments along the way in this video as well. This bike isn't stock, as I mentioned earlier, but it's got some good sweet mods to it, and most of them don't impact the comfort, except the levers. So he's got beautiful gold ASV levers on here. They're completely adjustable both on the brake and the clutch side, so you can adjust that to whatever you prefer. And if I know Yamaha, I would assume the stock brake lever would be adjustable and not the clutch side, as we saw on the Tracer 900 and have had on my R6. So let's start with the bad. The biggest problem is that you haven't smashed that like button yet. So why don't you do that while I jump into this review? Starting from the top, I would take every other review you've seen about this bike or any other super sport or any other bike for that matter and just throw it out the window. 99% of the YouTubers are too short to talk about our comfort, which is why I created this channel. And I know it's a struggle because I've been there, I've done that, and I've made purchases based on other reviews and it was a total fail. So this is why I'm here. I'm hoping I can help you with these series in this channel, find the right motorcycles, gear, etc. for us tall people. So anyways, the good news is I can almost sit upright if I fully extend my arms, especially if I only hold the throttle side. I'm practically upright. I might have a little bit of degrees of angles there, but it's very comfortable. I do have a small lean if I sit in a proper riding position with a slight bend in my elbow, but no big deal. I think I can sit in this position for a long time, and I can easily stretch out if by holding just the throttle side with one hand and relax the other arm. And I think it's a fairly comfy riding position, and that's usually what I've done on my R6 previously when I owned it. And R6 is a bit more aggressive, which we'll do a separate video on. But this is by far one of the comfiest super sports I've ridden. So what about the full tuck? Well, our arms do overlap just a bit with the knees, even when I sit back all the way. And I gotta tell you, this bike gives you a ton of room on the seat. There's a lot of room to move back and forth, so that helps us a lot. And it's not as bad as the Fireblade. If you watch that video, if you haven't, I'll leave the banner up top here. If you watch that video, it wasn't as comfortable. The rear sets were much higher. There was not enough room to move around in the seat. But anyways, it is far more comfortable than some of the other super sports. I can lay here all day, especially because of the tank be a bit higher. I'm afraid I might fall asleep on this position if I'm here too long because it's that comfy. Now, the reach of the bar, like I mentioned earlier, it's not a problem at all. I was very comfortable in all arm positions, and the reach of the lever is not a problem here since they're adjustable, but I would assume it wouldn't be an issue with the stock ones as well. Many people don't know, but you can adjust your clip-ons. There's only one bolt that's holding it tight. You might want to adjust that if you're a wider guy than I am. You got a bigger chest. shoulders, and etc. You want to open it up a little bit, or you just don't like the clip-ons being so close to the tank. Usually you want wider clip-ons for the track, narrower for the street, so it's a little bit more comfortable riding position. And just know that if you make the clip-ons wider, meaning open them up a little bit, you will be leaning forward a bit more than I am here. Of course, there's no issues flat footing this bike. I mean, I got tons of room in the leg, good angle, so no issues there. The kickstand is in a nice, easily accessible location. You'll be surprised how many manufacturers screw this one up, and actually Yamaha has on the Tracer 900, which I forgot to mention in my last review. But in this bike, it's in a good location. When you put your feet up, the rear sets are set lower than many super sports. In return, we do get good amount of legroom, so it's great news for us. I found the leg position to be comfortable, again, way more than the Fireblade. Here I got a picture of the owner, who's about 5'11", sitting on the bike as well. He's obviously got tons more room and much larger knee angle than we do, but it's still fairly comfortable for us as well. Now, there are a few things I would like to draw your attention to in terms of the legs. First, the fairings. When I watched reviews and saw pictures of this bike, I always thought the fairing would come in contact with my knees. Well, when you're sitting on the bike neutral and cruising, it doesn't come in contact, but it might if you scoot up and slide off the bike off to the side, extending your knee and banging your knee into the fairing. It is pretty sharp, so it will most definitely hurt, especially if you're not wearing any armor jeans and pants. So if you already got D3O or some sort of armor, you're not worried about it. But if you're just wearing regular fashion jeans, that's definitely gonna hurt. But if you're just cruising around, as you can see, it's a non-issue. The other is the crash protection he's using here. So he's got a slider mounted right above the rear sets, or right above the brake and shift lever. My boots are pretty low profile, and I didn't really hit them cruising around at all, but I may if my boots were bulky, or if I move up my foot forward in an emergency or riding aggressively, and might bang into that slider. The owner did say that he's never had that issue, but again, his shoe size is a lot smaller than mine, so it may be an issue. If you're looking into this bike, you might want to consider some other crash protection, not using that middle mount. Other than that, I gotta say that this bike was extremely comfortable in the riding position compared to some of the other super sports. And, I watched some of the other reviews beforehand because I was interested in buying this bike a while back. And they all say, this is a good, comfortable bike for tall riders. And again, I never believed them anymore because I've been burnt before. But, I've got to say, we got a good amount of leg room here, and we're pretty much upright in this riding position as well. And at the end of the day, it's a beautiful bike. If you're looking to get this bike and you're around my height or less than my height, you are pretty much good to go. If you want to make some changes, you can, of course, move the rear sets up and forward a little bit, because the way our knees, it will solve the problem of hitting the fairings. You'll be up and clearing that no problem, and you'll be able to grip the tank a little bit better, because as you can see, my knees and my legs are not really in the right position to grip the tank itself. So if you wanted to, you could make that adjustment, but I don't think it's a necessity on this bike. The rear sets are in a good spot for a comfortable riding position, but if you want to get aggressive, they might be a little bit too low, but you can raise those and get a new rear set, no problem. Clip-ons, I think it's in a good place, and you want a little bit more. If you want a little bit more aggressive riding position, you can change the geometry off the motorcycle and lower the clip-ons just a bit, and you'll have a super sport leaning forward, kind of tilted forward a little bit, so you'll have more tip in, etc. But you'll have a bit of a more aggressive seating position, so you can do that as well. That's a free mod. Like you don't have to buy aftermarket clip-ons, etc. for that. So I think overall it's a great bike for us tall riders, and I would definitely recommend it for those of you who are looking to buy one. The owner is actually selling it in the Pittsburgh area for about, I think, $8.5K. And if you're local, I can make the introduction, and he'll be more than willing to showcase his bike to you, and if you're interested in buying. So, you know, as always, you can leave your comments down below. I always answer every single comment that comes up, any question that comes up. Any suggestions you guys have on any motorcycle I should be checking out for you guys, please leave them in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and liking this video. Your likes help other viewers find this video as well. So please do that if you enjoyed the video. As always, have a safe ride, and I'll see you guys on the next one.